Rosters are kept by day. You'll recall in programs that you put in a day when the program meets, and you have the ability to look at where students are every day overall for your master list by each program, and also by homeroom or advisory teacher. So as an example, every single day it will automatically calculate the students, what programs they're going to with their homeroom teacher, and each teacher will have their own list by each day. And likewise, when we go back to the main menu, just to look at a Monday overall roster, we'd have the student name, and X indicates that they're inactive for that day. So maybe they're just out because they're sick, and that can be a little indicator. So the X in an inactive box shows up in these rosters. So this is an overall roster for Monday. You can see what that looks like. And also by program, so for each of the programs we'll have, for example, homework help. The snack count could be done manually and put at the top, the lead teacher. And for each program, these are all driven by the enrollments. The students listed alphabetically. You can save these as Excel and as PDFs as well. You click through the different reports, so it's going to, these are just basically class lists. I'd like to show the sign in, sign out feature, which is for students to enter their own attendance. You're going to go in as a student, most likely, because you don't want them to be able to see or be able to play around in the database, and the password is let me in, student let me in. And you'll have a home screen where the student can come up to the screen and you can train them in terms of how to enter their names. It's quite easy. You basically put in the name and program, sign in, and then you just click them to sign out, and it creates an attendance record. Now there is a ability to use live time, in other words down to the actual minute, or the default time, which is that set time for the program, that such as an hour. I actually left the database as a student because student let me in, and I went back in as a user, as an adult, so that I can see the rest of the database. And the reason for that is to go to Preferences. You'll see in this part, I scroll over, you might be using the sign in, sign out, and when you close out the database, there may be some students who signed in, but they didn't sign out for whatever reason, and so you kind of have some records left out there. So it will make attendance records for everybody, for every kid that signed in but didn't sign out, and you just need to choose whether you're going to give them the default or the actual time of when you close the database. In this way, you'll get all the records for all the students who came that day using the sign in, sign out feature. So under Preferences, this is where you do that. Finally, I'd like to show you the bus lists. So I went into Reports, into Student, and Bus List. The bus list is done alphabetically, and this is the South Route bus list with the bus stop name, the name of the student, their address, their mother's, the first pickup person, kind of the primary contact, and bus notes. So each student can be attached to a bus route, a bus name, and the bus stop. So you can do these inputs for each student, and we need to put in inputs for the bus route and stops itself. If we get to, let's see, Essie Vale here, if that was her name, it's not a real person. Go to a program, I'm sorry, student, full view. You see, we're at the full view. This list, this address went on the bus list. The primary contact and the number went on there. You can see the route, the bus stop name and get off with brother. That all showed on the bus list. So these are entered, this is used, and this is used to create the bus lists. Now for the bus list itself, in terms of the name and the stops, these are just records, so I've named the south route and I have the stops. You may recall on seeing the Maple Ave stop, it's a record. I'm going to just create a new record, Control N, and I'm going to put in south route, and I'm going to put in Oak and Main. So you're building a list and then you choose from them. You'll notice it does show alphabetically. So that's just something to keep in mind. When I go back to the bus list itself, the report can be found in Reports, Student, and Bus List. And again, this is the south route. You can have more than one bus route. You can have as many as you want. They'll all show up alphabetically on this report. You can save as a PDF or bring it into Excel if you want to monkey with it, which I imagine you might. But again, here are the names, the address, the primary contact, the bus note, the route, and the bus stop.